Hey everybody, it's Douglas here, and as you know, I am a big fan of saving us time with automations, getting technology to work for us, not the other way around. So that's all of my passion. That's everything I try to do and teach. So maybe you're aware of that OpenAI has been having a lot of releases lately, and of course, OpenAI is the creator of ChatGPT, the granddaddy of all the chatbots. And so, one of the things I thought would be cool to highlight today is a new announcement they have called projects. Now, what are projects? Well, they're interesting. In one way, they're kind of like a folder that you can have conversations in. So, already organizing chats is going to be a nice thing. But more importantly, you can create custom instructions and have knowledge bases within those projects. And so, why don't we take a look and see what that looks like? Okay, great. So here in ChatGPT, and important to note that this is a paid feature, but it is really useful. And if you're already paying, then great, you can use it. And if not, this might be the kind of thing you want to use. So I have all these custom GPTs. I have other videos on how to create custom GPTs, but that's not what we're going to be talking about. If you scroll down, you're going to see this new projects category here on the left-hand side. So if I click here, I'm going to call this my Project Fresh brand bot. Now you could use this for anything that you could imagine. But what I'd like to use it for is writing for my brand. So for Project Fresh, and I might want to write blogs or things like that. Okay, so let's just start with something very basic. So you will, respond in the tone of a pirate. This is always just fun just to test, okay? This is the first instruction that we're going to add just to see how it works. We're not going to even add files yet, but let's just see how this works. Is like, write me a short poem about chihuahuas, okay? And now it should write this in the format of a pirate. Now, what's interesting here is you could just go into ChatGPT and say, write me a short poem in the tone of a pirate about chihuahuas. So this is just the basic use case. You wouldn't really do it for something like that, but you can now actually see that the chats are all organized in this project. And you'll see that I can actually close that and have multiple projects, right? So that's nice. If you're working on a project, you can actually have all the chats related to that inside. Now, obviously, we just used this ridiculous example, but why don't we get a little bit more powerful with this? Okay, so I've created a few things over here. I actually am going to say, let's get back to the instructions, and I'll make it a little more complicated this time, saying you are an expert copywriter who writes who writes for my brand. Okay, and I'll just like that. So that's good. So now we're gonna want to tell it how to speak like our brand, obviously, right? So why don't we hop in here real quick, and I wrote my blog writing prompt. Okay, so in fact, what we could even do is, this is kind of more like the instructions here. I'm going to just take this out. And this is going to be my blog writing prompt. I'm going to create a new one, and this is going to be the tone. So we're going to call this writing tone. Okay, and so now we're going to have these three files. What have I got here? I've got my tone, I've got the blog writing prompt example, and then I'm going to put off-limit words, because as you know, ChatGPT can really get crazy with their words sometimes. So why don't we now take this and add files, and let's see if it's in my recent folders here. And I'm going to put in, let's see, I'm going to put in all three, and then I'll show you kind of what's in there. All right, so while those are uploading, let's take a look. So we have my writing tone, and this is where, as you write, adopt the tone of an experienced copywriter, etc. Your goal is to inform non-technical readers in a clear and engaging style. So this is one way that you can create your tone. Now, if you don't know what your tone is, but you've done a bunch of writing, for example, on Razor, I can go to my blog. If I've written a bunch of blogs, I can go in here, say you've done a bunch of writing, and you can literally just, can be a good starting point. Copy a blog and say, please, and this is a new chat, this isn't a project, please define my writing tone by reviewing the following blog post so that I can use the tone to train future chats on. And I'll just post it in here and let's see what it says. And I imagine it's going to be hopefully somewhat similar because I think that these blog posts are written with my tone. So in a very simple way, this is what it said. So in my case, my tone is like this. What else have I got here? I've got, this is my blog writing instructions. So make sure to cover the following in your response. Summary, and then uses, benefits, concerns, possible business use cases, and writing instructions. And so I can just put that all into a text document, and we're just testing this out. We might want to tweak this, make different files. But now in my instructions, I can say, you're an expert copywriter who writes for my brand. And I'm going to say, if I paste okay, well, let's just see what happens like that, right? Let's just leave that. And now I can save it, and hopefully it does its thing. All right, great. And so now I can say, let's say I go to an AI news article, and all right, Perplexity acquires Carbon to connect AI to your search. Now, some people would link directly to this and say, write me a blog post about this article. I found that actually copying and pasting links is not always accurate. And so what I prefer to do is copy just this article. Happens to be very short. This might not be the best example, but just for the case of this, I can say, write a blog post about the following article. And when I paste this in, let's see if, and hopefully it's speeded up a little bit. I wonder if Claude finished its thing. Well, Claude is just not doing anything for me today. How interesting is that? So, and we won't worry about that anymore. All right, so look at this. Perplexity acquires Carbon, a step forward in enterprise search. On December 18th, such and such reported. Here's the kind of summary, why this matters, potential benefits, potential challenges, possible business use cases, and final thought. Now, if you remember in my blog writing prompt, that's exactly what I had. I had the summary, the uses, the benefits, concerns, possible business use cases. In this case, I say choose three, I'll provide three potential business use cases for this technology. And then the instructions, I say, use the tone, don't use exclamation marks or emojis. When writing the blog post, aim to demonstrate expertise, right? And so also I have these, and it may have automatically done it, but I didn't put any instructions. I wanted to make sure it doesn't use any of these. So let's take a look if there's any real hyperbolic words in here. Honestly, it's already looking pretty good. There's not a whole bunch of like hyperbole, in other words, crazy words and big exclamation marks and revolutionize and transform. So it's done that really well. I could also, if I wanted to really be sure, I could come back into my Project Fresh brand bot, and in instructions, you're an expert copywriter who writes for my brand. You'll be given assignments, because I might not even have like you'll be given assignments. So use the tone I provide in the, what do you call that? Knowledge sources? Is that what they're called? Sources. If I ask for a blog post and include an article, use the, and what was it called? It was the blog writing prompt. Blog writing prompt from the knowledge source. Otherwise, just do your best to create a nice article or other piece of finished copy. Now, so, this is the kind of thing you could massage, but what's nice is now that it's in a project, you can really, you can know all these, you can just edit it in this one place. So I really like that about this. So what else might you use this for? Well, I could also start to do fun things like, you know what? Maybe I could actually come in to my services that I offer for Razor, because ultimately I'm building a brand bot, right? So these are all the things that we offer. So I'm going to just copy and paste this entire page like this into a new text document. Oh, and I forgot to say, by the way, instructions. Make sure, just in case, it looked like it did a pretty good job with the tone that I provided, but say make sure not to use any of the words listed in the, and this was called the off-limits words attached document in the knowledge source. Okay, so we're going to save that. I'm also going to now create a new one of these, a new text document, and this is going to just be called my services, and we'll call this Razor Services because this is my agency, and I'm just going to save it. So really this is becoming a Razor brand bot more than a Project Fresh brand bot. So I'll just rename this. All right, and then what I'm going to do now is also I will rename this, and then I will put a new knowledge source, because now I'm going to add my services. And let's see, recent files, nope. Recent folders, nope. All right, so I'm going to just drag it, Razor Services. All right, and any other things, those are my services. And I'm going to also just say, I'm going to just go to my home page here, and why not just take my entire home page and not the blog posts. I'll take everything else down to here, and I'm going to call this, I'll make a new text file called, let's just copy it all in here, and I'm going to say, Razor brand homepage, something like that. Put it in here, and then what we're going to do is go back to our project and just drag that in, and hopefully it's going to upload nicely. Wait, did it do it? No, you got to wait for it to upload. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Instructions. Also review. You'll be given. Okay. I am also giving you access to all our services and general brand overview and what we offer. Okay, so now let's take a look at this, shall we? And say, let's see how accurate it is. Okay, and I'm gonna ask it now. I might just reload, just to reload the page, make sure, and say, okay, just what are Razor's services? Okay, let's see if it gets them. And so audits and solutions, so let's take a look. My services. All right, audits and consultation, prompt engineering. So we come over here. All right, so it looks like it's got it, which is super cool. So now I can say, who is my target audience? Or, Razors. This is just a test. Target audience. Okay, so executives and decision makers, solo entrepreneurs. It's doing a great job here. All right, so now look, I've got my own little Razor brand bot here. What can I do with my Razor brand bot? Well, I could do things like, and now we're going to start to get fun. Like, so if I say, write me a blog post about the importance of AI automation in small businesses. Let's see what it says. Now, I haven't put an article in here, so what's cool about this is, guess what? It's actually doing a blog, not my typical about an article blog. It's actually doing a pretty good one, and it's looking like the actual copy is pretty nice. I like the tone, and it's giving a pretty nice article. I haven't even told it how to write this blog, but I could if I wanted to upload a knowledge base about how to write other types of blogs. And what this is showing, I'm going to do another video on this new feature. This is actually a feature that OpenAI just announced called Canvas. I'm going to get into it in another video, but you can actually have the chat on the left-hand side, and you can edit it and work with different paragraphs on the right-hand side, which is just so cool. Okay, so I'm not going to get too far down that rabbit hole, but what I will say is, remember, we can go back to our Razor brand bot, and now I can say, let's start to just do for a final experiment here. Let's say, what additional services, so I could say, based on my current services and target audience, what additional offerings could I provide? Okay, so now look at this. Now what it should do is look at what I was offering on my services page, knowing who my target audience is, and it's going to give me some things that I haven't yet provided in my services. You know, I mean, there's some interesting stuff here, but this is an opportunity to on-demand AI masterclass. So for example, that could be something pretty neat, and it is something we're thinking about for the next year to provide automations for executives. So what I could say is like, okay, let's flesh out number 10. Can you provide a kind of curriculum, or maybe like a course framework for executives? All right, so now it's going to begin to do at least the first version. Now, obviously, this is the kind of thing you would want to edit and really refine, but it's already looking like there's some cool stuff here. If I wanted to now, I could actually say, write me copy for a sales landing page for this new offering. Okay, and so now it's going to actually begin to use my brand, and it's looking like it's not using the ridiculous words or emoji. It's just giving the outline for this sales page, and I could absolutely play with this more if I wanted to, which is really cool. Now I'm curious if I wanted to begin to use this it's funny because I would have thought, I don't know why, what I did previously to open up Canvas, this is why I'll do another video on that, because now I don't see how to provide, unless view tools, Canvas, there it is. All right, so what I could say is like this, look at this, go like this, and say Canvas, write me a sales page for this new offering. And now, let's try it again. So now it's opening up in Canvas. And so this is cool because what we used to have to do was go into Google Documents and edit it there. But now what I could do is go like this, you know, highlight that and say, just to, as a little example, I could say, ask ChatGPT, whoops, can you come up with a better introduction? And I would probably put some more instructions and make sure it's relevant to the target audience, you know, something like that. So now what it's going to do, and I haven't really used Canvas this much. I haven't used Canvas much before, but it's, look at that. It just replaces the exact thing, gives me some options, and then this is kind of where I can work out of. So basically, you see how powerful those two new announcements are. Those were just announced in the last week, projects and Canvas. And then we're just beginning to scratch the surface on Canvas. But projects, I think, is really fascinating because now you have your folder of all the chats related to that particular ChatGPT that you trained with the instructions, which can get a lot more detailed, obviously, and the knowledge files. And I don't know, I haven't checked on the limits of knowledge files, how many you're able to add, how big they're able to be, obviously stuff to explore, but just the ability to have these projects for very specific use cases and know where to find them, know where to go back. So what could you use projects for? You could use it for a book writing project. You could actually have all the instructions for how you write and even the outline, and then you could have chats related to the chapters. You could have it related to your content marketing schedule, and it could be armed with all of your various platforms that you post on, and then you could have different weeks or different ideas for Instagram or for Facebook or for LinkedIn as different chats that you could go back and explore. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible, but hopefully that gives you some ideas to get inspired by. And also interesting to note that you could do this in custom GPTs, also only available on the paid version. You can do more things in custom GPTs, like maybe you can add more knowledge sources. I don't know about limitations with that, but I know at the very least you can do other things like add actions and more advanced scripts that communicate with other platforms. Most people wouldn't need to do that, so not such a big deal. Also important to look, for $20 a month, you can play with Claude's projects, which are somewhat similar. I haven't tried them both side by side. One of the cool things about OpenAI is that it has web access. And so, like I say, you can put a link in rather than copy and paste your homepage. You can try doing it. Now, you can also try doing it for what we did with, instead of copying and pasting a blog article in there. I will say that 95% of the time I had a great experience with that, but about 5% of the time I would look at the blog post and be like, I don't remember reading that in the blog post. I don't remember that person's name or that organization. And it had completely made up things. So I found that copying and pasting the article is way better practice and way more accurate with the results than relying on putting a link, especially if you haven't read the article fully. So just some important things to know. If you like this video, please subscribe and like it. If you would ever like to talk about automations, feel free to get in touch at projectfresh.com, or razor.co is my AI automations agency. I love to geek out on all these new tools and ways that technology can save you time so it works for you and not the other way around. So thanks again for watching, and have a great rest of your day.